All right, good afternoon and welcome to the third concurrent session of the day, Creating and Engaging Geeks. Our presenter today is Dr. Lane Eckes from Troy University. Dr. Eckes is an associate professor in the Economics and Finance Department at Troy University. Dr. Eckes' main areas of research focus on economic growth and development, female entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial activities, and economic education. At Troy University, Dr. Eckes teaches principles of economics, international trade, managerial economics, and the economics of entrepreneurship. In addition, Dr. Eckes is an active member of the Faculty Senate at Troy University, Faculty Welfare Initiative Task Force, the Student Centeredness Committee, Economic Summit on Jobs, and enjoys the role as advisor and mentor to her students. If you have any questions for the presenter during the session, please feel free to enter those into the Q&A section at the bottom of the Zoom room screen, and we will address them at the end of the talk. On that note, I will hand it over to our presenter.
Thank you, Kristen. You made me sound good there. I can add on to that role. Inevitably, whenever I start presenting, I live by a train track. There's always a train coming, or the UPS guy comes and my dog barks. So again, the woes of working from home. Welcome. I can't see who's in this session, but welcome all of you. Glad to have you here virtually. Again, sort of my topic today. Maybe to the next screen. Session description here. I am an economist, so I like to kill about 5 birds with 1 stone. So whoever is present in this session today, I hope you can gain some tidbits of information on different levels. First, we're really proud about the AACSB accreditation at Troy University. It was a very long, arduous, tedious process. And it's our goal to continuously improve as a School of Business with this accreditation and really align our strategies of teaching with our mission and vision. That's one angle of this particular presentation. And it's, during the process of accreditation, it was the fact of, we're never going to be perfect, but it's important to note what are your strengths and weaknesses, what can you improve upon in the classroom and other areas. So that's one facet. Second, I'm actually going to provide you with a pretty cool hands-on example that I use in my principles of economics class that reinforces qualities we want our students to possess at Troy. Third, we're going to connect economic concepts early on in the online course to, since it's a social science, I do this example early in the class because it's kind of fun. It sort of assuages their concerns they have coming into the class if it's going to be hard or very rigorous. And it's kind of a confidence booster that, wow, this is kind of interesting and neat how she applies this to what's happening in the world. And again, lastly, our school has a really, history steeped in online learning. We've really been doing it for almost 20 years. Believe it or not, we've come a long way. So it's challenging to create engagement activities for online learners, but it's not impossible. How you can learn, and we can discuss different ways to engage online learners, improve retention, and create new opportunities for growth in this particular area. I was in Jacqueline's session earlier on engagement, and I'm a firm believer in do as I do, not what I say. I think you've also got to be, you've got to be engaged, you've got to be open, come to the students where they are. I'm not going to lay over and change all the things that I do, but I'm really willing to communicate differently and those types of things as discussed earlier. This is just sort of, again, as a backdrop, if you're kind of here as an administrator or not necessarily a economics teacher. Our vision is to sort of as a professor, we're considered to be techs. So we provide quality teaching at the undergraduate and graduate level with face-to-face, hybrid, online formats. We engage with the business and professional community. We have a culture of caring. I mean, it's really one of the reasons I enjoy where I am is I'm able to care about my students, my community, and in general. We also focus on scholarship. That's a big area in our area of discipline. So this is our kind of, cute acronym, text, and we sort of produce GEEKS. This is the mainstay of our campaign. As our dean here mentions, our collective efforts through teaching, engaging, caring, and scholarship really provide a strong foundation for successful careers and rewarding lives. I was going to try a little poll question, but I got distracted. Maybe we can do that later. But, I asked colleagues, I really honestly think it's part of my job to follow through and see these kids through to the career or the next step in life. I just don't think it stops with here's your degree. And so through this mission and vision statement and things that we do as educators, I just want to urge you to think that how is this going to benefit this student in the rest of their life? And again, let's see, I'm going to give an example. Come back to where's my what a geek is. Let's see. Well, where's my okay. Here we are. GEEKS. I think I deleted a slide. GEEKS are considered to be our students are globally aware. They're engaged with the business community, ethical decision makers, knowledgeable to compete, and successful. Our chancellor kind of like scoffed at this acronym because I think he thought it was cheesy, but again, it is what it is. We had a cute little helmet somewhere. We have deleted a slide. So again, these students, this is kind of, we have this in our hallway and our syllabi, and we try to find cute ways to reinforce. But I think it's a really, it's a doable vision statement. And I want to give an example in terms of what I use in my principles of economics class to really hone in on engagement is probably number one with economic concepts and with the community, knowledgeable, successful, and also caring. I'm working on an academic piece on this topic, so I'm just going to verbally talk about it. I'm not going to put the assignment necessarily on here. But this is again in principles of micro. I use this in my strictly online and hybrid courses. I align this example with topics such as scarcity, resource use, labor markets, productivity, and food insecurity. I think, sometimes it's just see no evil, that type of thing. And there's about 15% of families and individuals in the US who have food insecurities, meaning they have to forsake other things like water and power and, internet to eat. And, with food insecurities, there's a direct connection between when you don't have a nourishment, food, a caloric intake, it certainly affects your learning, your growth, your productivity, and your mental health. So I choose to utilize this example again early on with my students. They are engaged in a discussion board where they're given research links on what exactly is food insecurity. That's what it's called now. So food banks, that's the overall term for individuals who, it's not hunger, that type of thing. It's food insecurity. And it really can be the fact that you lack, items that are simply, nutritional, have nutritional value. McDonald's is not really considered to be a nutritious dinner. So I require them to do some research on this topic. They're required to answer any discussion board post. And they also get a chance. I'm going to go ahead and click on this link. We work with an organization called Feeding the Valley. It's out of Columbus, Georgia. This here is a quote that I like. I'll come back to. Oh, Kristen. Oh, I can see you. Are you saying something, Kristen? Okay, sorry. Again, this is the Feeding the Valley that we work with, the organization that we work with in Columbus, Georgia. Let's see. Are you good, Kristen? Okay. Sorry. Service is about a 40 county area here. And part of the assignment the students do is they get a Q&A with the CEO of Feeding the Valley, Frank Shepard. He's really good about popping on a Zoom Teams call, and he will answer their questions about food insecurities, tell us a little history about the organization, what they do, who they serve, and those types of things. Make sure I'm not doing anything wrong. Oh, see the PowerPoint. Oh, sorry. Let me stop sharing. Let's see. I'll stop. Let me do a new share. Oh gosh. Let's try that. Can we see that? Okay. Sometimes it does that. It lags. That's why I don't like Teams. You can't share. Anyway, I'll come back to PowerPoint in a second. So here's the organization we work with. It's called Feeding the Valley Food Bank out of Columbus, Georgia. They serve about 35 counties in Georgia and Alabama. And the great thing is we invite the CEO, Frank Shepard, comes on to the class, either through Zoom or Teams when it works, and does a virtual Q&A, really kind of gives the students this interaction with industry and talks about what they do, who they serve, and it's very enlightening. The students come away with a renewed fact of, wow, I had no idea this existed in my community, literally. And we've had many students who have chosen to become volunteers. They've done a couple of internships. So that's the kind of real world stuff that sticks with students. And so again, Frank talks about food drives are really popular in, Christmas time, holidays. This is prior to anything COVID related. But their times of need are certainly during the summer periods when children were out of school. Their donations dwindle. So we've always partnered in the summertime and done a food drive. And he talks about that, the need for that during those particular months. Of course, now it's COVID has maintained, or food insecurities even greater. We also get to talk about some second degree price discrimination. For every $1 that is donated to this particular organization, they can provide 4 meals. As you can see here, $10 buys 53 pounds of groceries. This individual writes a check for $1,000. So your money donations through second degree bulk buying can generate more meals than you can physically go to the store and purchase. And again, that's an important part from an economic standpoint and this particular food drive. So I'm going to stop this. You can feel free to go back and share my PowerPoints. So again, I'm just going to verbally talk through. This will be, this year will be the 5th year. We've done this 4 years in the past. This will be our 5th year. We opened this food drive up for everyone, the entire campus. Last year, we raised over enough to fund 10,000 meals. We run it the entire summer term. And again, we open it up to, share these on LinkedIn. We sort of challenge the administration. We do a lot of things to increase the visibility of this sort of exercise. It's also in memory of one of our dear colleagues who has passed away, a few years ago. So that's also a good memory. And again, the caveat for, I'll come back to this, the caveat for the students, the incentive, what's the incentive? They do like a short honesty quiz after this. They either can donate monetarily to this particular food drive. They can donate physical goods. They can donate time. They can also donate to a food bank in their particular area where they live. And they just answer an honesty quiz. If you're going to lie about donating food just to get points, then that's probably the least amount of your problems in this world. So again, that's how we get some points on a midterm exam. That's really where the incentive lies. Again, there's all kinds of economic concepts, that are involved in this example that I remind them of, lots of times. Other examples that we use, these are more recent to, instill our GEEKS mentality. a new reading initiative that we are part of, First Readers. I'm not exactly sure where the derivation of FERST readers comes from. I didn't look that up, but we as faculty and students and staff, this is where parents, it's a literacy campaign targeted to adults and children. So they essentially kind of get two different books and they read together and, do like little quizzes and that type of thing for underserved communities. So that's another engagement tool. Virtual seminars have really been a huge hit. They're much more cost effective. Like I was telling Kristen, you don't have to provide Chick-fil-A and thank you gifts and that kind of thing. You just have to schedule a time for individuals, and oftentimes you can record. They can watch it at their leisure. We have a couple coming up that I put on here. Dr. Tanya Harris Cornelius with ESPN is going to discuss development, inclusion, and diversity. I think in a couple of weeks. We have Bo Lohr from the Alabama Department of Commerce speaking. He's a trade specialist. We've just now opened up the Rotary Club in our area has begun to have face-to-face meetings again. They're really good about inviting students to come interact and literally get a free lunch. They can increase their network skills, discuss ways in which their career path might lead. Here's again, the engagement, the knowledge, the success, all of those things are tying together. And I guess, my end, the pinnacle of engagement in the business community from my perspective as a professor and a professional in the community is to provide internships for our students. This is another hat that I wear, a pro bono one, if you will. But I've had great success, and just the success of the program speaks for itself and serves as payment. We all know that we don't get rich or become a millionaire by being in academia. So our internship program, we all are familiar with what internships are. And I just wanted to, again, my audience, I'm not exactly sure of the demographics here, but it's, again, like engagement, internships are more challenging when you teach at a non-traditional campus location. You teach online, you teach adult learners who already have full-time jobs and other tasks, but it's not impossible. I mean, they are in school for a reason, to better themselves and to move forward in their career path. And I think, again, that's part of my job in this particular role. About the average age is 28 years old. So we've placed some virtual internships, but the bulk of the interns that are important here are still face-to-face. And we're seeing there was, of course, a little bit of a lag last year, but I've got 7 or 8 running right now in the spring and have 6 or 7 for this summer. It is, if I can't emphasize enough, in whatever field you're in, practicums or business, that real world work experience is just immeasurable in terms of what the student and the business firm gain. A lot of times, they really are gung-ho about, being, I'll just pick on accountants. It's easy enough. They just want to be a CPA until they go do it for a spring. And they're like, absolutely not. I do not want to do that. It's really an eye-opening experience for some about what they want to do and what they, do not want to do. And plus, it's a short term for both the student and the business firm. If you can't, give it your all for 3 to 4 months, then you should probably readdress your career path. We've placed about 90 interns over the past 2.5 years. Again, it's sort of a one-woman show. We're kind of limited on staff, but we utilize our Canvas learning management system and advertise. We solicit firms, we advertise positions on Canvas. The resumes and applications come to me. I'm able to comb through those and weed out the ones that are freshmen majoring in, disciplinary studies and looking for the seniors in accounting. So I'm really able to send the creme de la creme, the top 4 or 5 applicants to our firms. They don't have to comb through resumes that are, irrelevant. And that's been a really good selling point, is minimizing the time they have to put into it. I can give you more information about that. It's a whole day seminar about internships. I think 1 out of 90 has had a bad experience, and it just really wasn't a good fit. So that's a pretty good, statistically speaking, number for our program of interns. Probably 20% have been offered full-time jobs as a result, and we have lots of recurring partners. And this again comes back to the very onset of the discussion on our mission and vision and what we want our students to become and how we give them the tools to become that. This is just sort of a, kind of a catch-all. We're quite dedicated to being a culture of caring. We encourage, everyone from students, faculty, staff, and admin to work together. And a lot of these seminars are on engagement and how to do that. And I don't think one can be necessarily, as I said earlier, over-engaged. I think variety is the spice for our students, especially in the online learning format. Again, it's COVID, whatever, has changed how we engage. It has not canceled the fact that we do it and we still interact. Again, lifelong learning. I'm a huge fan of continuous learning. It doesn't always happen in the classroom. It doesn't always happen when you get to read chapter 4. I'm really about how do you apply these concepts that I think are very important in economics. Some of them do not, but whenever I can relate these to real world experiences and they can make a difference, they think about economics. They don't always think of it and just cringe about their class they had 10 years ago. So again, I hope you have any questions. I'd be glad to answer those. Like I said, I've always kind of been one who has been able to do 10 minutes or 20, 30 minutes. So I'm glad to open up the floor for questions or comments, whatever you would like to throw at me. Oh gosh, now we're on this split screen. Like my students here, they have no questions, no comments.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think I maybe muted myself. How would you go about setting up an internship program?
Wait, I'm speaking business perspective. I'm speaking from a business standpoint. It's really utilizing your business contacts, utilizing your professional contacts in an area, and really sort of just super selling the program. We really sort of urge people to pay for interns. If this is not free labor, this is not fetching coffee, making copies. It's not that. It is a very rigorous. There's a whole memorandum that we sort of push the business employers to look at. I really am a hard sell about all the benefits that they can get from it. And once they do it one time, they are always repeat customers. So it's really finding people that you know in your contacts and hitting those up, doing a couple of really good ones. That's the important thing. Don't try and run 10 at a time. Start off with 1 or 2 that are really strong corporate business firms with a good reputation, running those along, and then selling those to the admin, to your boss, and then coming around and offering those again and drawing in more partners. It's been, I've gotten probably out of those 90 internships, we probably have at least 30 or so different business partners.
That's great. Thank you. What is your favorite part about the GEEKS campaign?
You know, I didn't mention much about the globally aware part. Again, we are a very global, varied campus, lots of international students, lots of study abroads. You know, in 2022, we have scheduled, we have locations, a couple in, let's see, we have Emirates, Vietnam, one other. So we have different locations, Troy University, different locations that we send students for fall and spring semesters. They come here, our students go there. Again, that was put on hold this past year or so. So the global aspect is certainly that. We push that a little bit on hold, but we bring in international, guest speakers. It's the engagement part is probably my favorite with the business community. And we're talking about business students here. So it's important to practice your networking skills. Again, how do you talk about business when you're one-on-one with professionals? People stumble on that a lot of times. I have strong students with lots of military experience, and they've done all kinds of things I've never dreamed of doing, but they get nervous, talking to a CEO of a particular company they're interviewing with. So it's about practicing for all of us. And again, knowledgeable to compete in the business world. And again, that's part of trying to intertwine those concepts in every course that I teach.
Great.
This
Thank
forum
you.
is like my kids, like they're not asking any questions at all. Is this my class or is this like
Well, I'll give a minute for any other last minute questions to come in.
My neighbor brought some lunch.
Sounds good.
He's like,
I
oh,
would
so
love
sorry.
that.
It smells good. I don't know what it is.
All right. Well, if any other questions come up, please don't hesitate to type them in. But I wanted to thank you, Dr. Eckes, for all
Yes,
of the
thank
valuable
you.
information that you
Thank
shared
you. Thank you
today.
guys again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm going to launch just a quick 3-question poll
Okay.
on the presentation. So
Okay.
everyone, if you don't mind taking a minute to share your feedback with us. Oh, it looks like maybe someone said thank you for the information today.
Welcome, Edward.
Give me just a second to launch that poll. All right, so we'll give everyone just a couple minutes to fill that out.
Okay. I wanted to ask people, it's like, do you think, is it a part of your job if you're a professor to follow them through, to help them find a career? Some people are really, it's I'm just curious what people's thoughts were if that's your role. I mean, if it's not your role as a professor, do you just, when you give them the grade, you're done with them? I mean, I was just curious about thoughts from the audience on that.
Yeah. Please share your thoughts in the Q&A box. I know it's a little bit different when we're not in person.
Yeah.
We're sharing it virtually, but yes, please share your thoughts in the Q&A box. I'll read them out loud and we can discuss it that way. I know we also have people filling out the poll, so it may take a minute. All right, I'm not seeing anything come through. I'm not sure if it's because people can't find the Q&A or it's
Okay.
just a little bit different to type it versus speaking and everyone's muted,
Yes, everybody's
unfortunately,
muted.
on the other end.
That's okay.
I wish we could have a little bit more of a discussion, but
No,
we
it's
do
fine.
appreciate all of the information that you've shared
Yes,
today.
thank you. Hope you have a great day.
Yes, we hope you do too.
Miss
Thank
Stay
you
on
very
or
much.
no?
Oh, here's a Q&A. I
Okay.
agree that should be the goal of universities. I, however, have freshmen who are not reading at grade level, and I'm not sure I can push that far.
Okay. Well, yeah. Again, depending on relatively speaking, here I got them at junior, senior level at the School of Business. Um, they've sort of been weeded out at that point. But yes, I think whenever freshmen coming back to student success centers, again, what's the most proper way to tell them this may not be the best career path if you can't read at a certain level? Yeah, that's a valid point. I guess I was speaking more or less, on the track of you're a junior or senior economics major, what part of it is my goal to help you succeed and go further. We don't do a really good job of actually do a terrible job of following up to see where are you. We're pretty good about asking for money, I think, but we're not really great about tracking where you went as a job. Is it tied to your major? And again, that's people pass the buck on whose job that is all the time. But I try to personally keep track of at least those who intern with me. Through LinkedIn and social media, it's so easy to figure out. I mean, where do they work? Well, I can find it out if they have a job. They're pretty much on LinkedIn, and so again, that's part of it. Following up and that type of thing. But it's not an easy process. Thank you.
Wouldn't imagine so, but yes, definitely important. All right. Well, thank you
Thank
again.
you.
And the next concurrent sessions will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. You can view the chat room for session meeting room links. You can also access our conference website for a complete list of concurrent sessions and their descriptions. And don't forget, while you're accessing our conference website, you can swing by our exhibit hall and say hi to our Hawks team, view a quick 5-minute demonstration, and you can be entered to win the hourly giveaway, which includes your choice of a smart pen, a standing desk, or a $100 Amazon gift card. So we look forward to seeing you at your next session. Thank
Thank
you
you.
again.
Have a good day.
You too.